My name's Gemma Larkman-Jones. I'm 45 and I'm an admin officer. Samuel contracted measles in 2014. Because of illness, he was on a delayed vaccine schedule. So it wasn't that he wasn't having them, he was just having them at a later date. I wasn't too worried because, like most people, I just believed measles was a part of childhood, but he was going to have the MMR. And then he got measles. I knew that I had to keep his temperature down because, like a high temperature could cause deafness or blindness. That is all I knew about measles. And he recovered as far as I was aware. And I was like, right, okay, he's got through this. And then he was just his normal self. In January 2019, I noticed he started to walk funny. And I remember saying to him, why are you walking like that? And he's like, I'm walking normally. And I just thought it was 6-year-old sass. Left it a couple of weeks, but then I noticed he really was falling over all the time. So I took him to the GP. They couldn't see anything, so they said that they was going to have a GP meeting. They discussed it. I then got a telephone call to say that they thought he should go to A&E. So I took him to A&E. We was in A&E a long time. They checked his eyes, and I remember one of the nurses saying she could see something in his eyes, but nothing more was said. Then he had MRI and bloods, and then they sent us home to come back the next day for a lumbar puncture. We went back and there was nothing that was seen, so they just concluded that he might have an infection or the start of dyspraxia. So they sent us home with a nurse coming out to give him steroids, and then an outpatient's appointment. He then went back to school. He fell off of his chair at school. His handwriting went from really neat to really, really messy. But we'd gone on holiday in 2018 and he couldn't remember going on holiday. And I remember thinking, that's not right. So I took him back to the GP. The time we'd got home, my GP had phoned his consultant, and the consultant was on the phone saying, you need to come back in tomorrow. He had more tests done. Then it was probably about 3 or 4 days later, he started getting upper body jerks. And he was eating and he was talking. Probably about 4 or 5 days later, I noticed he wasn't eating as well as he should. And so they suggested we put a thickener in his food. Then I noticed that his speech was becoming very, very slurred. They then decided that he needed more help. They then had to put a feeding tube in him because they were scared that he would aspirate. They did one more lumbar puncture, and that's when they saw that he had SSPE in his spinal fluid. I'd never heard of it. The nurse that was in the room with me had never heard of it. So obviously when I was told that, I came straight out and Googled it. And then it was a quick downslope from there. Like within 3 days of being diagnosed, he went into a coma and then passed away on the 30th of April 2019. I kind of wish it had been something that I knew of, because once you get SSPE, there's no cure, there's no treatment, it's a death sentence. It's just a matter of time. His older brother is undergoing counselling because it affects him, like he misses him we all do, we all miss him. But for me, it's the guilt, because he died needlessly. He didn't have to die. He should still be here, which is why I'm telling his story. Sorry, God. Which is why I'm telling his story, in the hope that his death can save other children from dying. If I can just save one family, if one child gets vaccinated and their family don't have to go through this, it'll be worth it.